POV. It's not just a social media trend, it stands for point of view, and it's all around us. We're going to dive deep and chase this from end to end. Welcome to the first part in a 3-part series on point of view. When it comes to literature, point of view is the perspective in which the story is told. A big question we should ask ourselves is, who is telling the story? Because it could be a character or an observer outside of the narrative. And when an author sits down to pick their POV, they have to decide whether they're going to do first, second, or third. We're focusing on just first person. We'll use a chart to help us see the differences in pronouns, who the author is, and the advantages of each version. You can tell when an author has chosen first person by the pronouns I, me, we, us, and mine. You'll notice this in lines of dialogue such as, "Let's go skydiving," I said. Or when there's a first-hand account of something. Looking around to make sure no one was watching me, I snuck some snacks out of the kitchen and into my room. In first person, the author is the main character. It's like you're looking through his or her eyes. And because of that, the view is limited. To illustrate, let me tell you a story that happened to me when I was younger. The True Adventures of Little Mr. B. It was early one school morning, and I was quietly eating breakfast. Suddenly, I heard a sound. I dove to the floor. What was that? Was someone breaking into my house? I crawled across the floor as quickly as I could and flipped off the lights. Then I moved to the window and looked out. I saw a car speed off down the street, smashing car windows as they drove by. So why were they doing that? Yeah, I have no idea. No, really, I don't know. The only way to expand that story is for those people to come back and tell me, which I'm really not that too keen on. Or someone else with first-hand knowledge would have to share. And that leads us to advantages. One is that the reader understands the thoughts of only the main character and sees it through his or her eyes. You might be thinking that sounds like a disadvantage, but adding limited knowledge to your reader can add suspense and tension. First person is a very intimate choice. You get to hear their inner thoughts. You get to know what makes them tick because you are that main character. Doesn't get any more personal than that. And if the story is told in present tense, the reader is experiencing it as it happens to the main character. This adds some immediacy and energy.
I volunteer as tribute.
If you decide to go with past tense, then the character is retelling something that has already occurred. This allows for some perspective and maybe even nostalgia of the past.
Concerning hobbits.
But here's the secret. First person means that you are the only one telling the story. Well, obviously. No, this is really important. In first person, only you get to say how things happen. In order to illustrate, let me tell you one more story. Let's say you're sitting in class, when all of a sudden... Uh-oh.
So tell me, how did the table at lunch get all messed up?
She knows about the food fight. What are you going to do? You look around and realize you're the only one being asked. Your friends aren't here.
I was sitting here, and these two dudes were just arguing with each other. And that's when they start getting mad and they start throwing food at each other. It wasn't me, because I would never do something like that.
And with that, you throw your friends one by one under the bus. You're the victim.
Thank you. You can go back to class now.
Whew, you've dodged a bullet, you think. But what you didn't realize was that the principal didn't just talk to you. She also asked your friends.
Okay, here's what really happened.
Well, you see, me? No.
No, that's the lie.
Not sure about that.
And one by one, the truth is revealed, and your story doesn't hold up so well.
Not my fault.
I promise this is the truth.
Oops. It's hard to know if a first-person account is entirely accurate. In literature, we call this an unreliable narrator. Can you imagine the surprise on a reader when they learn that the main character hasn't been entirely truthful with them? It's not as common for stories to use this technique, but when used effectively, it can make your story memorable. So when you read a first-person account, you should be thinking, whose story isn't being told? That's it for first person, but don't go away. Next time, it's second person point of view.